everyone. Welcome to another episode of Ironis Insights. I got a great guest here from the West Coast, Jeff Zimbalist of Applied Technology Solutions. Thanks so much for joining us, Jeff. So where exactly are you on the West Coast?
Oh man, a place that almost nobody's ever heard of. So we're in Reading, which is not like Reading, Pennsylvania, or I believe there is one, right? So yeah,
Yeah,
we're I always tell people if you look at the map of California, there's the straight up and down section, and there's this section up there nobody knows anything about. We're right in the middle of that.
I'm
So
surprised you even know
us.
what Reading, Pennsylvania is. I'm from Pittsburgh originally, so I can appreciate that comment.
I was on a call with a partner who's in the UK, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm in Reading," and I'm like, "No, you're not." He's like, "Yeah, we have a Reading in like North Highlands, Scotland," and I'm like, "Whoa, all right, mind blown. I had no idea."
I guess there's enough names anywhere, right?
I guess so. Yeah, it's boggling my mind. But yeah, so that's us. We're in California. We call it far Northern California because San Francisco thinks they're Northern California, and that's fine. So we made up our own thing.
Okay, so you're the far north.
We're far Northern. Yeah, we're really, really far Northern.
Got it, got it. Awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Excited to chat with you and learn more about your business. So, I mean, I'm curious to hear a little bit more about your background and how you got into cybersecurity and, what drives that passion.
Cool. Yeah, I actually started doing internal IT for K-12 for school districts for probably the first, I don't know, little almost half of my career. And that was super fun. At that time we were like, hey, this internet thing is going to be like a big deal. We should put that in classrooms and stuff. And so I guess I go pretty far back in the IT space, but yeah, it was an interesting run for K-12 education for quite a while, and then had an opportunity to start this. So I said, I'm done with the government. I'm never going back, and I'm going to do my own thing. And I think I told the story a few times about maybe 6 to 8 weeks after I left. I had a call from a superintendent buddy that was like, "Hey, we don't have any IT. You guys want to help us out?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right, sure." So like, I think I had almost a month where I wasn't involved in education technology, and
Wow, that's so funny. And isn't that crazy to hear that, we don't have any IT?
yeah, it blows me away, and I get that from rural schools or smaller districts,
Sure, sure.
but it's more shocking when it's from, say, like a dentist's office or like someone
Yeah,
who you expect to have that. Like, we just onboarded a law firm not that long ago, and they're not huge, for as law firms go, they're fairly small, just a single attorney or whatever, and they're like,
sure.
yeah, well, we've never really had IT, and it's like, it's 2025, man. Like, what do you mean you've never really had IT? And so like then it's like, well, let's talk about your strategy for whatever. And it's like, oh, you don't have that. Okay, cool. So let's like roll this all the way back. And like, well, would you like a strategy for any of these things? Because you need all of them.
Exactly. No, I mean that's the key. What I found listening to, many different business leaders like yourself is this the education is really, really important. And it's the tough one too, because people don't know what they don't know, right? And they're not really afraid of it until something happens, something bad happens, unfortunately. Sometimes they're always going to be that person that needs to lose something to actually learn. But I guess our goal is to try to avoid that, right?
As much as possible. We always like, there is this sort of weird perception, I think, especially in the security space, where it's like, well, okay, so you said I need EDR, and like maybe I need MDR, so I can have people managing my EDR for me, and they're gonna monitor it 24/7, and that, so I'll buy these things and then I won't have a problem. Great. And it's like, well, the chances of you having a problem become smaller, but we can't, there's nothing that's going to make it not happen. Like, that's, so we do spend a fair amount of time just, I mean, it sucks. You can do all the right things and still end up with a a ransomware issue, or at the very least you're going to have like a phishing problem. I mean, it's kind of tough because for the longest time, I think IT was like, you buy antivirus, you don't have viruses, and like, cool, great, you patch all the things, you won't have these problems, and it's not that
Exactly.
way anymore. It's such a like weird evolving space that it's like, hey, we're doing everything we can here. We're leveraging AI to detect things. We've got real people monitoring that, and like we're throwing all this effort at it, and something's probably still going to happen, and that is, I mean, I like I say a lot of times, like I'm a real ray of sunshine when I come into that conversation, because it's like it's not going to go super well. It's hopefully the best case scenario is that like your huge issue is really just a couple of machines that we can sort out, and it doesn't affect your entire infrastructure.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. and I mean, I'm glad you mentioned something. I mean, something as simple as a phishing email, right? I mean, it's November 7th. We're coming up on, Black Friday, and all these companies right now are going to get those emails for the free iPad or and how many tests have you run? I mean, someone
Oh,
always clicks on it, right?
someone always clicks on it. Yeah, I think I've only done one test where nobody clicked on it, and it was because I was literally there training them in person like the day before, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this is cheating. Like, I mean, this isn't normal. Every other test we've ever done, and like we have a few different platforms we use for that, and like it's so funny how well it's received by clients. At first, there's this like resistance to like, oh, you're gonna like test us and hope we fail, and it's like, well, like, not really. Like, I want you to succeed, but like, you don't fail by clicking. You learn by clicking. And like, you learn
Exactly.
by clicking this. Like, I want you to fail this. I don't want you to fail the, hey,
This
can you
is the
a
time to
direct
fail.
deposit? Yeah, exactly. Like, this is the fail to learn moment. And yeah, fail, comma, to learn.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, your company has been around for 15 years. I mean, first, congratulations. I mean, to be around that long in the space and how much it's developed and changed over time. I mean, you mentioned like, you get McAfee and then you're good. And now it's like
Yeah.
and now you have like you said, you mentioned AI. Like what different types of changes has your company seen?
Oh man, if I so we I mean so many like we don't even have time to go through all of them, but
Yeah.
I'll pick on security because it's the hot button, right?
Uh-huh.
The change has been like, hey, going from everyone's an admin on everything and like please let's stop doing that to like, now we've had AV and we've had next gen AV for a while and now we've had, okay, well, you need endpoint detection and response because AV doesn't do anything against these things. And that was like a cool first step. And then it was like, okay, well, EDR is great. Now we need to layer in like AI models into EDR so that it can work faster. And then that gets to a point where it's generating so much and so many different log entries, like nobody's going to do, you can't manage it all. So then EDR then turns into managed endpoint detection and response. Now you have MDR. And it's like, okay, cool. Now we got a team of people that manage this. And it's like just that move, it hasn't even been 15 years. We're talking 3 years, 4 years from like, in the past, it was like, oh, yeah, McAfee. I like you how you picked on that. But in the past, you do, you buy your thing and check your box and good. And I think the whole checking a box for security plan, it's not a plan, but like that concept, I think so many organizations are used to like, I do security, we bought security or we
Right.
hired security or we did a thing. And it's so much more than that now. We used to have this whole security is for everyone like push where we were just trying to get it into like literally everybody in any organization. You're part of the security of the organization. It's you got to treat it the same way as like who's got keys to the building because it's all the same thing. Like if you're not addressing it from a like true, I hate to, holistic is overused in so many things, but it fits. Like if you're not approaching security for your organization like truly holistically and looking at things like, you know are you sure when you background check this employee that you got all the things? That's part of information security just as much as like who's got admin rights to the server, to who's got a key that opens the room that we keep all of the servers in. Like it's a huge overreaching problem now, and you just sort of have to look at it that way where like, okay, I'm going to sit down and discuss security and we're not going to talk about like which software I need you to buy. Like, I mean, okay, cool, we probably will, but what we need to do is have where is your tolerance for risk, and that's where it's really moving now, is not so much like what are we doing for security. It's like, well, we'll do whatever you need, but where's your risk tolerance? Like if we can define that and say like, what's your target for restoration if you had a total failure? Well, 2 days is fine. Like, it's not, I'm sure, but like, let's say it is cool, then like this is what we're going to do for you because it meets that. So instead of just talking about the security, the conversation now is sort of evolved into, really it's just a conversation about risk, which makes it sound like I'm selling insurance, but it's similar.
Yeah, no, definitely not selling insurance. I wanted to pick on exactly your market that you focus on. You said you're working with a lot of healthcare companies right now.
Yep.
Interested to hear more about, why you think that is, and what exactly you're doing with them. And with education, I mean, you mentioned you were just in your example earlier that you were in there giving, a lesson or teaching or a seminar, whatever it may be. Is that something you guys do as well?
Yeah, we do a lot of training for our clients. We have unlimited consulting as part of our contract, and
Got it.
that's
Oh,
cool.
interesting.
Except like a lot of folks don't take advantage of it, and
Mm,
so as I started doing, I speak at a few things every now and then, and it sort of evolved into like, hey, why don't I actually just come train your staff on security? Like we'll give you the training because so many times we see a breach occur or we see an incident with phishing and we've remediated the problem and okay cool we took care of it and we helped this one client get from A to B and that's great, and then it's like well lessons learned, like a lot of this is somewhat preventable, not all of it but a lot of it is, and
mhm.
there's really no reason for me to like keep that behind the veil and like don't look behind the curtain. What I think we've really been trying to do from a training and teaching point of view, and I'll get to the healthcare thing in a second, is we've
Yeah.
really been trying to increase just the general awareness that security really is everybody's problem. And so, it used to be like somebody had just in previous years you look at like oh well there's here's an organization and like you talk to somebody in it and like on the download they're like hey we had a security incident last year and it's like oh well yeah, let's not talk about it. And our big push really is just like, it's not a secret. Like it shouldn't be a secret. You can't keep it a secret. You have to share like, hey, this is what happened. This is how how we moved through it. Because that's how the industry as a whole grows. And really to point that back at healthcare, what we have seen over the last like 2 years is like a 200 to 300% increase of actual like successful, as in successful for the bad guys, attacks against healthcare as an industry targeted as a targeted
Interesting.
industry. um, and one of the only ways we can try and stop that flood really is just to make sure that everyone is rowing the same direction, and that's where we've really put a lot of emphasis on like please let me train your staff at the bare minimum and then let's get something in place where we're actually tracking the training over time and everybody's getting the phishing simulations and stuff like that. It's a lift like any other effort. We're trying to push people to make changes, and changes in an organization that's constantly being thrown changes is difficult. So for healthcare it's an interesting one because they have such a big target on their back already. But most of them are starting to realize that as the data starts to show that like hey these breaches are kind of out of control, especially when we're like talking about some of the stats we've seen with like the individuals that have had like that have had records breached in the last say 2 years from 23 to 24. It's roughly 81% of the United States population that's had like a records breach that they're either aware of or not. And if we're talking about numbers that are that large, you can't ignore it and hope it doesn't happen to you. And that has been part of our education piece. So for healthcare, really, it's just the target is so big on healthcare because the data is worth so much to the threat actors. Like there's so much good data in every healthcare organization, regardless of size, that like all those records are worth huge money. I mean, that's why we're spending $13 trillion on dealing with ransomware as a society by 2028. That's just crazy.
13 trillion?
Yeah, looking at stats on that, like there's always this like cost projection, and I always have this thing where it's like, hey, if this was a revenue chart, we would be kicking serious ass right now. Kind of not. It's the other way around. Like
Yeah.
we spent about 10 trillion in 2025,
Oh my
is our
gosh.
projection, and we're gonna hit it. And the CISA and FBI, they estimate we're gonna top 13 trillion by 2028, just the annual worldwide cost of cybercrime in general. And if you think about 13 trillion, like there are so many other things we could do with $13 trillion. Like
Yeah.
everybody's got a good idea on that one. And this
Yeah.
is but we're spending it on this. So
Incredible. I mean, just hearing 200 to 300% that going after these healthcare companies. I mean, yeah, I mean that's for someone like you, I guess that's reason enough to be to be working with them. I mean,
yeah,
it's a hot ticket.
it's the need is there, right? And
Right.
so, like a lot of things, when you see the need, there's a lot of people trying to fill that gap and say like, oh, we can do X, Y, and Z. And we like a lot of folks, I think we've just taken this, best practice approach. Like, here are proven methods, we're going to follow that through. We're not going to, I'm not over here trying to reinvent the wheel. We partner with really great, security companies, and we've brought in some really fantastic SOC support, the security operations center support, to help us, hit all of those targets. But it's definitely not like a thing you can't just like hire Bob and he's going to do security for you. Like, it's just like that whole holistic training where you have to get everybody going the same direction. Security is very much like not a one man show. Like, I mean, I hate to say it, it's a group project, right? So like, we all have to do our part for the group project to succeed, because we don't want to be you don't want to be in the group where there's only one person doing the homework. That's a bad place to be.
Sometimes it takes a village, man.
Yeah, and this is one of those things. Like I said, it's, I hate to use cliches like holistic and this, but like it kind of is. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like I've spent so long being like the other direction on that, but I mean, really, you cannot do this by yourself. I talk to our clients about that when they're just, hey, let's put together an incident response plan. And like, what's your team for responding to an incident? They're like, oh, well, we're really small, so it's just going to be me. I'm like, no, it isn't. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way. Like, there is no way. Like, you cannot plan this by yourself and hope it's going to work.
Yeah, no, exactly. And yeah, just back to that, highlighting the education piece. I mean, that's really it is really important. So, I mean, you've been around a while, 15 years. I know you have a bunch of incredible reviews, but so how are you getting your clients with how are you getting in front of these healthcare companies? Because I mean, there's got to be so much competition, right?
There's Yeah, it's an interesting market up here. There's absolutely competition. And the weird thing about that is, as much competition as there is, there's still just so much work. And that's
Interesting.
the thing, is there is more work than there are people, companies like mine to
Uh-huh.
handle it. And that's fine, because it keeps us all incredibly busy. Of the other IT companies in our area that have similar services, the interesting thing about this is one thing we're all on the same page with. They I think we all have slightly different target clients, like who we're looking for, and we're all strangely collaborative about this. There's a ton of, obviously, there's competition. We're all trying to differentiate ourselves and be like, hey, we do this better than these guys or whatever, and that's fine. But like, as an example of the collaboration, I met with a couple other owners last year, and we sort of have this quarterly almost cadence. We did for a while. We dropped off a little bit this last quarter because it's fourth quarter and it's a mess. But anyways, but I mean, we've done this. We'll get together, grab a cup of coffee, and just be like, hey, can we throw a bunch of our collective clients together in a room and train them collectively on how to do X, Y, and Z? Because
Really interesting.
the bottom line is that, like, everyone needs to hear the same information, and we're all preaching the same thing. We're all saying the same stuff. And we honestly, I mean, I feel this way, and I know the other guys do too, is that like, there's really like, sometimes you can say it all day long, and it's then there's that coaching the kids syndrome, right? Like, your own kids don't always listen to you, right? They're like, whatever, dad, whatever. And it's kind of the same way with your clients. Sometimes it takes somebody else to say the same thing, and
Yeah.
like, hey, okay, well, I guess you I know you've been saying it, but now that Todd said it, I guess maybe I should do it. And
Yeah.
so, honestly, that has worked tremendously well.
That's
So like,
interesting. So you got together with just other business leaders in your area, or how do you know these guys?
they run other IT companies kind of like mine.
But not necessarily local, just out there.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, Todd's office is like right over there. If you
Okay.
look out the window, it's not that far away,
So you guys have a nice
So
community then, it sounds like.
it's a strange, like I said, it's a strange market. Uh,
Yeah.
and healthcare in our area, we have two hospitals. Our area is about 100,000 people. We have two hospital systems, really, and then just gobs of healthcare entities. And so the need is huge in our area for that. And we each kind of do things in a slightly different way, and we've long thought that, like, you should be really comfortable with who you're using for IT. It either fits really well or it doesn't fit at all. There's not a lot of gray area with it. Like, hey, I love the way you guys work. I love working with you. Cool. Let's keep this going. And sometimes it's a great fit. Other times it isn't. And that's the perk to having choices. I mean, it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, we got all these clients and it's great, but but we fortunately have, we have a lot of great clients, and that's, it's taken a lot to cultivate that, but really it just comes down to like finding the ones that work the way, or that like the way we work, for them.
Well, exactly. They have to appreciate you, and I mean, you've been doing this a while, and they understand that you know what you're doing. They like the way you do it, and they're staying with you for a reason, right? So I mean that seems I mean it seems to be going very well for you, and you have this interesting market over there, this little niche where you're partnering with the the other leaders, which
You'd
is
think it wouldn't work, but it totally does.
hey, listen, it wouldn't work in New York City, I'll tell you that. But in Reading, the far north in California,
It's still
it
just
sounds
fine.
like it is.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I mean, okay, so that seems to be working great. Now, on the other side, what would you love to fix right now, or what's a struggle that you have right now that you'd love to change somehow?
I mean, there's a couple of things really. I mean, we all have the same struggle of, it's really tough to like get the right people in the right seats, finding people, recruiting, all of that. I mean, that's like pretty common across our industry. Every time we lose a tech to, another organization, or they move to the city or the county or whatever, that process of replacing is always just tremendously long. And that isn't going away. There's no technology tool we can throw at that, I don't think, to make recruiting easier. But on the security front, I think, one of the things that we've sort of struggled with is, you know there's um there's a lot of marketing in the security front, which is great because it's in front of people a lot. But I mean, I think if there's one thing we really try to, I guess, filter out, or something we try to fix, is honestly just that perception that like there's a ton of products, and like none of them are going to get you to zero risk. There isn't a thing you can buy that's going to solve this problem for you.
Mhm.
And I know that that's a weird, complicated, this is the one thing, but for us, that's kind of what our one thing is it's the thing we keep running up against. Is you of course you need, as many what anti-ransomware or EDR products. Like, I mean, you need a good one of those. You need it to be managed. And then that's still not all of it. Like, you need phishing simulations. Like, you need that to be managed. Like, you need, to actually, train the staff as well, and you need to make sure they're all getting trained. I mean, it's there's so many components to it. I think our big problem, if you will, or the thing that we really wish we could fix, is to unify that, because each one of those things is a separate vendor. And like, I did another podcast not that long ago about like tech burnout and fatigue. And one of the things I'm a huge one of the things I always talk about is like, we have tool fatigue in our industry. Like, I know my staff here does it. Like, we have like 18 panes of glass that we have to be in all day. And so, if I could, throw a dart and say like, hey, this problem's going to go away, it would be unifying the great disparity between all of the tool sets we have to be in all day. Because since we have to do all these things to, hit these marks and deliver these services for our clients, I mean, it just makes it much more overwhelming for especially new folks in our industry to just be like, oh, cool, I got to pay attention to that too, and that too, and that too. And like, you can throw management on at it all day, but you still have a dozen systems you've got to take care of.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, finding the right talent, and you're wearing a lot of hats, right? And you're well, you're also managing many different things that not everyone can do, right? It's a very unique skill set that's constantly evolving as well. So I imagine, I know cybersecurity companies right now that are basically teaching kids out of high school before they even go to college.
We had an internship program. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and then they come and work for them while they're even in school still, because it's really important to get this information and learn these things when I guess as soon as you can, to be effective.
It's weird because it's almost like if you look at how easily people can learn languages as they age, it's not really that different. It's very similar,
Mm.
and we all still learn stuff. I mean, I know, I learn stuff constantly, especially from a security point of view. Like, there is new stuff out there all the time. We're always trying to pay attention to it. but you never learn as fast as you do when you're younger. That's just what it is. So
Exactly.
it makes sense. It truly does. I mean, it's one thing to be like, hey, I got a bachelor's in cybersecurity. And it's another to be like, I've got that. And I've been working interning at this other company for 4 of those years. It's like, okay, well, you're the guy.
Let's go. Yeah, exactly. Come on, you're hired.
So yeah, it
Yeah.
matters a lot. There's no real substitute for being in it, and getting that real world experience. And and you get it. I mean, I was truly, I was truly lucky in that I started my career when I was super young, and the industry was literally starting at the same time. So it was
Hmm.
like we were all learning at the same time, and like I was, young enough that it was like, cool, I'm picking up all the things, and it was great. But now I mean, I can't imagine coming into the industry now. It's got to be a pretty steep learning curve, and it is. We see it with our new folks too. There's a lot of deer in headlights, especially once we finish the first couple of days of onboarding. They're like, oh man. I'm like, yeah, well, welcome to the entry level job. You're gonna
Yeah.
love it here, but it's gonna take you a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah. No, exactly. I mean, it's really tough to prepare anyone, and without any prior knowledge to it. I mean, it's kind of natural with any industry, but especially with something as technical as this. I could see why it's a little difficult to find that top talent.
It
Um,
is tough. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, but I mean, it sounds like you're crushing it right now. I just want to thank you for hopping on today. I really enjoyed chatting with you. Where can my audience find you guys?
So I always hate to say, like, I hate to sling a brand because it just is. It's one of the, I'm always for, like, brand agnostic, whatever. But like LinkedIn really is the best place to find me.
On LinkedIn? Great. We'll put
Yeah,
the link below the video.
yeah, LinkedIn is kind of where it is for me. I mean, and like it's funny you talk about, like, like, oh, well, we're an IT company. Well, we have probably the least descriptive website on the planet. So like, we've all got priorities, and that hasn't been mine for a while. So yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn. It's a great place to find me. And then
Awesome, guys. But you heard it.
we can go from
Connect with
there.
Jeff on LinkedIn. Thanks so much for joining us, and have a good day. All right.
Awesome. Thanks, man. I super appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.